Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Mick.
Hi, I'm Uncle Pete.
We're here with Chris Tash doing the podcast.
Yes, have a good one. Thank you very much.
What's going on, man? Chris Tash Pawtcast, sitting here with Pete from Uncle Pete's Relief, also the VP of the Maine Cannabis Union. That's a big fucking deal right there.
It's pretty cool.
That's a big deal right there. And I'm over here too with my homie Mick McGrath from McGrath Brokerage. McGrath, what is it? I'm sorry, I forgot what it was. McGrath Consignment, that's what it is. McGrath Consignment and Brokerage.
Close. Celtic.
Irish guy. I don't. Well, you're throwing me off, man. With the.
It is.
You got to admit, and you got the whole. He's sitting like
trying to flash you.
He's sitting like this too. So I got to admit, it is fucking throwing me off like a little bit. Like fuck, dude.
I'm like.
Yeah. Relax. But you guys, thank you for coming down. I mean, you guys just drove all the way from Maine.
Yeah.
Maine. Appreciate the ride.
Good travel. It was a nice ride. We don't mind coming down here and seeing you.
I appreciate it, man. On a Sunday is not bad either.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So what's going on in your life, Pete? You got a lot of stuff going on. What's new?
Wow, I wear a lot of different hats. You nailed that. You talked about Uncle Pete's Relief, and it's kind of hard to stay in business from a farmer out of your house and pick up only. And
so what is Uncle Pete's Relief?
Uncle Pete's Relief is a medical marijuana pick up only, order online. And we have some of the best damn cannabis. It's well water from a spring.
So you personally have a cannabis farm up in Maine?
Yeah, a 5-acre farm in southern Maine in Sanford. So like 15 minutes off the highway. So we've been doing this since 2011, even before there was an industry. So that whole time, I thought, wow, we'll legalize the state, and then I'm all done.
When you say you've been doing this, what do you mean you've been doing this?
I've been a medical marijuana caregiver since 2011.
Okay, and what does that consist of?
That consists of providing for legal patients in the state of Maine their cannabis, a certain amount, that whatever the state changes year to year, and how many patients and all that.
All right. So just to give people a background on what it is, because someone might not know what exactly that is.
Right. It's tough because you can't just sell to anybody. They have to have a medical card. And we had to change the state law so you can come into our state. It says vacation land on our plate. So if you bring a medical card, we can honor it. So it's kind of nice, from out of state. However, with regulations and they got rid of residency clause, a bunch of business owners teamed up, and it's the whole bipolar of a union, because I started one. I worked at Shaw's Warehouse in the 1990s, and it sucked. And you didn't get no raises for 3 years, and they start filming you, just doing whatever. And I helped swing an election there with USCW 791. It was awesome.
What do you mean help swing an election?
So really, when you're working for a company that is non-union, and you don't, and you got, 700 people there, or up 300, multiple people, and the majority's upset that they haven't got a raise, right? Or people getting fired, and it's like, well, you don't like it, quit. Well, maybe it's in the right location and you like the job, you just don't like what's going on. You sign union cards and get a vote. And it took 3 different elections to get that through.
Well, that was just to stop on that real quick. That's an interesting way to look at that, right? Because most people, when you say, yeah, you don't like the job, quit. And you said, well, maybe they shouldn't quit. Maybe the job should just be like have a better environment. Better environment for your work.
You like the job.
It just seems so foreign, but so many people just don't. They just say the other thing, and they never say the other thing. Like, why don't we just fix the environment?
Right. And it's harder to fix things. So up to last August, there was no active union for rec medical research, all combined, right? All the big 3. There was one going on that was funded by International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, right? That's a big union. That's one in D.C. It's a
Hold on, I'm losing you right there. What do you mean by that?
So right now, I started in August. The union that we're on now, all right? We're the Maine Cannabis Union.
Okay.
Our affiliate is International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers.
And what does an affiliate mean? Like, what is it?
That's the power. That's the legal teams. That is
okay.
the office in D.C.
I got you.
And so now, when we go to the State House, we're not just a regular org from the state. And I don't mean to belittle anything, because all the orgs are badass in our state. We now represent collective bargaining agreements. These are recognized in Washington, D.C.
Can you explain why that's important to not be recognized as, I don't want to talk down on orgs, but can you explain why that's important in what you do?
So what I was finding out this past week how important it was. There's a Veterans of Legal Affair in the state of Maine, and they oversee cannabis, tobacco, lobby, I think lottery tickets and so forth. There's a lot more they do. And so we fall under them for hearings. They've been great because they realized we are representing the National Labor Union, and we organize labor. Excuse me. So it's a different ball game than going in there and saying this person's awful or this thing's wrong. Don't do that. We have to protect the jobs.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ball game. And everybody at the State House on Thursday when I went, we're introducing ourselves to everybody for all the legislation and senators, representatives as well. And, you have a nice talk with the Secretary of State one-on-one, and the Speaker of the House, their head assistant one-on-one. And then you go to the Senate House and talk to the President's assistant, because they're all in session, and setting up, scheduling meetings. And it's different. It's just different now. You're representing jobs, and you're there to make sure that whatever policies don't have a ripple effect on our jobs that we now represent.
What are you not here representing right now?
Okay. So the one thing, thanks, Mick, I appreciate that. So one of the many hats I wear is I am a city councilor for the city of Sanford in the village of Springvale, Maine. And it's the coolest thing I've ever done. But when I go to the State House, under those issues, as in right now, I'm not representing the city. I'm not representing the people that voted for me to speak on the podcast or to go to the State House on cannabis issues. Now, there were some bills at the State House that had nothing to do with cannabis. So after I'm talking to them about Uncle Pete, I'm like, hey, by the way, this is kind of sound bipolar, but I'm one of your really cool city councilors. And every one of them's like, we know exactly who you are, Uncle Pete. You're doing a great job. And I'm like, okay, so we got to talk about a bill to fund a community firefighter, a paramedic, and a bill to just for general assistance. So it's nice. I can wear many hats now, and I love it.
I'm trying to even think of a way to paint this picture for anyone that might be listening to this, or like maybe listening in the future to this, on exactly like what it is you do. Because like one day you're a stoner.
Yep.
And then the next day you hold an office in government.
Well, in my city. Yes. I'm a municipality officer. I'm a city councilor.
Yeah, that's you're part of the city government.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay. It's just a very unique thing. And you also have your own Uncle Pete. You have Uncle Pete's Relief as well. So you have a cannabis.
Can I help you?
Yeah, please.
Let me bring you right into my world.
Please.
I break federal law every day because I'm right. And I accepted.
Okay,
I accepted that if I have to go to jail, it's me, not my family, because I'm right. We're extending more sunrises and sunsets. Apparently, the city got behind me because I had overwhelming success on the election. That I have a large amount behind me. I had no idea, and so what I do is I separate cannabis from everything else for the city, and just rule on what should be, what's right.
But when I met you, you were still just, you weren't a stoner. You had Uncle Pete's Relief already, but you were running. You were about to run, for office.
Yeah.
And you got it. So I just want to make sure we touch on that, because, like, how does someone go from, like, just, hey, I want laws to change, to, like, fuck it, I'm going to run.
Oh, okay. I can tell you what happened.
It's a very unique thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of people that have that story, Pete. I don't know if you know that.
All right, guys.
You know what I mean? Like,
so what happened? I went to City Hall, and at our city, it's really cool. Every they have twice a Tuesdays. First Tuesday and third Tuesday is the month. They have city council public meetings, and they run the city. They treat it like a corporation, and they should. It's, multi-billion-dollar corporation. You try to do things right. And so I went, and there was some arguing, and I didn't think that was right. You don't argue in public. And everybody on that panel is awesome. I want to work with every one of them, so no way am I bad-mouthing anybody on my city. So on the way out, I looked at the police chief, and I knew him because he was like 5 years younger than me in school. I'm like, kid, I said, boy, they got to clean this up or I'm going to run for office. My huge mistake in life was that the mic was right next to him, and it was all over cable TV. The next morning, I thought Uncle Pete's Relief was going to be really busy. There's a couple people outside and they're pickup only. I'm like, shit, I must have missed some orders, right? So I didn't miss any orders. They were here for me to run for city council, and they wanted to sign my nomination papers that I didn't even have or know that I needed or what they were called, and they wanted to donate. And I was like, please don't donate. And then by the end of the week, I swear to God, there was over 1,000 different vehicles that came for me to run for the city. So I'm like, okay, so if I run, I won't come in last. 4 people for 2 seats. Yeah, I can do this, And so I went to the party I'm registered with, and I said, I know it's nonpartisan, but signs, what the hell do I do? Well, first you got to go get a nomination paper. So they were really cool. I'm not a politician.
Yeah, I was going to say, was there any aspiration to ever be a politician at all, ever?
No, not even in a dream, not even
now, was there any aspiration to be a politician?
No, but nobody else is doing it. And what I found out that it's pretty good if you don't like what's going on in your city or your town, run for office, because you do get the chance to make a difference if you pay attention and you try. So enough bitching, run for office, get it done. I encourage everybody sometime in their life to run for city or a town of their councils.
It sounds dope, and I'm a huge fan of it. I think what you do is amazing. I think it's inspiring as well. It's just not common. It's not something that a lot of people do.
I'm not really like most people, and that's what I'm finding out. Again, I'm covered in tattoos, I swear, and I try so hard never to swear on the council seat, so I'll be quiet and rethink what I'm going to say a couple times, because a lot of people depended on me, and they did vote for me, and I take that serious,
It must make you feel great when you walk out of your house and there's lines of cars being like, hey, we need you.
I had no idea. And I know, like, when I travel, people will see me, hey, Uncle Pete, take a selfie, and I get that. But in my own town, nobody, hey, Uncle, they all leave me alone. So I didn't know if I was going to come in last, or which is embarrassing. I don't want to come in last in anything, whether we're playing a board game. I don't want to come in last. And I ended up getting almost 40% of the whole city. And I got more per 1,000 than anybody that ran for election.
40% of an election is fucking nuts. It doesn't happen.
It was pretty cool. And then I knew, like, I'm going to help a lot of people, and I think I am.
What's some of the things you've done since you got in there?
Well, one of the things I was completely horrified was the needle use and the abuse all over the place. You could walk down our city, and I love my city, and there were needles on the ground, people open use, and so I worked hard with the city and the state to understand, one, you can't just rule on something. You got to find out, why is it coming in? And we found out different agencies were funding to come in to stop abuse. And I didn't think that was proper the way it was being done, so we could halt it and get these people help. And I'm pretty proud of that. And people, why don't you leave it? Well, if it's by your business and people don't come to your business and you pay property tax or business tax that I'm learning about as a counselor, you have certain obligations to everybody, not just personal. Let's get some fund in here. Let's get the help for the homeless. And I think we're doing a lot. And that was never part of just stopping the arguing that I saw.
Yeah.
And it's so rewarding. It's good. There's people telling me I'm doing a great job. And when I'm not, or if there's something coming on, I love it when people email me. I call them right away and face the music so I can be better.
Yeah, no, that's what public office you're supposed to serve, right? Isn't that the whole
I think if you contacted me and I didn't answer you, that's a fail. whether it's going to be a complete shit show and you're going to want to kill me, I'm calling you. This is you may not like the answer, but this is why, or I'll find out.
It's your job.
That's all.
Yeah.
Be a decent person,
Are you one of his constituents? No?
I'm not.
No?
He sponsored me though. He was awesome.
Although I did back the horse.
So, I mean, that right there in itself is just one of those. I know there's so much more to talk about, but I always just find it so fascinating about you that, because a lot of people they say, like, I want to change things, and it's all just smoke and mirrors. Nobody actually does anything.
Shit, or get off the pot.
You're someone that actually, you're one of those get shit done motherfuckers. There's not a lot of people that, like,
thank you,
that get shit done. Like, fuck that, we're just going to get shit done,
A lot of people tell me, excuse me, a lot of people are telling me that, I have a hard time speaking in front of people. It's like, well, if you're the expert, who else is going to do it?
Yeah.
Get it done. If you're right, and it's okay, like I tell a lot of people, reading in public or speaking in public, what happens if I make a mistake? Well, for one, if you're hanging out with me, you're probably a stoner. It's okay to make a mistake. Just laugh it off and keep going. I didn't mean to say that. I meant this. Take the pressure off yourself. If you believe in something, do it. And my goal, since I've been in the cannabis industry, when I realized that I did have a chance to win, and I'm like, oh boy, I am going to win. And then I'm thinking, I just let down a lot of cannabis industry members for years because there's a lot of good activists. Why aren't they running for offices in their cities and towns? So out of any of this that we get today, I want it to be, hey, Tash, that guy really called me out. Yeah, I am. If you're in your city or town, you don't have to understand codes. You don't have to understand how the city works because they have a charter and you can read. Because
you didn't understand any of this shit.
I
None of it.
It was never whatever the word. It was never for me to sit down and read. And I'm going to tell you, the city manager was great, and I got to meet with them. And there was no horror story. There was no evil people. They're really, even the ones that you don't agree with, they just want to help. So what I found out about any city hall or any politician at the state houses, it's not an FU. It's what opinion they're doing is the majority that believes in them. You have to go with the majority. You have to help the majority. So they take a lot of heat. But the city was awesome to me. The mayor, it was her first time she got elected. We met for a year straight on Monday, so anybody in the city can come in if there's any issues. I feel fortunate, and who would ever thought? I feel so close to a mayor of a city that she's welcome at my house 24/7 if she ever wants to. Here I'm an evil grower. I swear, the whole thing. I adore, and she's gone out of her way to make me a better counselor on procedures and how to do things, because she says it's hard keeping up with me, and I get it. I'm not like the average person. I've got so much going on. We're gonna be Maine Cannabis Union's got to be Tuesday at legislation, right, in Augusta. Well, then I have to be, I think, 4 or 5 o'clock back in Sanford for executive session because my voters, I can't miss that. That's part of the deal. And then council that night or another meeting or something. I'm not sure. But I know it's half the day. Half the day I belong to all the state of Maine as Uncle Pete. And then the rest of the day, Sanford gets me as Council Transmontane. And I think I'm doing an okay job separating.
I would assume that the business that you're in, that if you weren't doing a good job separating, then you'd probably hear about it. Because
I would think so.
Cannabis and government politics obviously are still like very
new.
It's new, yeah.
Yeah.
How now, without like having to get into naming names and all that kind of stuff,
right.
Do you find that like the government is a lot more cannabis friendly than people let on?
Okay, so this is a pretty good story. You're going to appreciate this. Now that you know me and know how I try to find things out. Well, the Maine Cannabis the program was in Department of Health and Human Services, right? Makes sense. They got doctors in there and stuff, but policies never work. I asked the lady in charge, which was in charge of my district, and she previously told me that they didn't want caregivers. So that's now it's not my friend. you know? And I said, I want to know, because I'm up there all the time at the State House. Do I belong here? I know I can hold my own, but what is like if all of us were caregivers, I don't want to know what your revenue was. That's none of my fucking business. What I want to know is if all of us combined, right, union, what is our revenue versus the 8 dispensaries? And you know what I found out? I got a no from her. She will not release that. And I was so mad, I turned around and there was a sign that said Department of Financial Affairs. And like a light bulb and a jolt, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this system. This is wrong. I need answers. I opened the door. I walked in. Some guy was on a roller on his chair and wheels back. And I says, I'm Uncle Pete from Uncle Pete's Relief. And I believe that we need to be here, not in Department of Human Services. They can't. A little girl got beat up from her stepfather. It was already reported. They're supposed to go see it. And I'm not saying that they put all their resources to fight 180 cannabis bills, but where were the inspectors, to take care of DHS and families instead of fighting a plant? So we didn't need to be in there. And when they're not letting financial information out, well, I had enough, Give me the facts. Do I belong up at Augusta fighting for everybody if we bring in $1 million revenue and they're bringing $100 million in? No, we need to shut up and go away because we're not relevant for all of the money. You want to know the figures? They had 26 million, right? The dispensaries, and I got that figure first. Second figure, we were 128 million.
I was going to say in Maine, I would think, especially Maine itself, I would think that caregivers in small businesses are way more frequented than the big guys because Maine has never been about the big guys.
And that's when I knew we belonged. And that's when I knew that I wasn't getting out of this. I was going to be there for the long haul. So that's when I started looking at unions, how to get us stronger. And it was just tough. It was, and then all of a sudden, I was approached by International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers to come to a union meeting. And what was so interesting is I brought some firepower. I brought an extractor. I brought a lady, Kim Edwards. Shout out to Kim Edwards. I love you. She's awesome. And she used to run the Hemp Association all across the country for farmers. So she knew exactly what I was doing. And she's like, I want to be a part of this. This is needed. So I brought her, Susan Meehan, and my wife, the boss, Big Red. And so we went down to this meeting, and everybody in the board, and I'm not bashing anybody, they were so hardcore for straight medical marijuana, and they're not wrong, it needed protection. But I would have had to put poison pills in these bills against, like, if you owned medical and you owned a research. And I like to look in the mirror when I shave, man. That's not about me. It's the same plant. I want us all together. So it took like almost 2 years, and Mick and I found out that the board, which is fine, nobody was paying dues, and they didn't have any members. And I'm like, we need you in legislation. We've missed 2 seasons so far up in a legislation. And found out that Medical Marijuana Caregivers of Maine and Catherine Lewis and Glenn, they're pretty awesome. The Augusta Civic Center, and they'll have a trade show for cannabis. And I'm like, hey, Catherine, I'm going down there. I'm going to sign a card. She's like, oh, good, get this rolling. So I went down, Mick and I, we signed a card, looked at the union members. Now, I already created Shaw's Warehouse Union, and that was in the 1990s. So I know exactly what happens now. Me and Mick, as soon as he signed right after me, we're the only 2 dues-paying members. Time to call for a vote. So we absolved the board, and we said that, of course, they can come back. They're good people, but they have to pay all their back dues because that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, because you add up agents, the cost of agents from the Maine union, and all the money and legal teams. So it's embarrassing, It's time to move. So right now, last count, we have 30 different companies that are already joined since October. and plus members. You know, we got CBA going, and it's working. It's all owners, so we're not here to like before. Like I worked at the supermarket's warehouse, and it was terrible. I would have signed any card for a union just out of spite, right? This is me calling you as an owner saying, hey, your son left your company, right? Yeah, no benefits. That's what happened to me and my son. That's why he's not here. And it kills me because we are a super close family, aren't we? Breaks my heart. I hate it. I hate it. If you want to hate that I didn't have benefits that I could bring in to keep my son. How would you like that one, right? And there's no benefits in our industry. Excuse me. So how do I fix that? I know I can fix that if I focus on it. With this union now, we now have benefit packages. So nobody else has to lose their son or their family member in a family business or just a trained employee that you don't want to leave, but they need health. They need stuff for their kids because they're older. And that's what I'll be most proud of out of anything with this union is allowing people to stay in our industry that belong there, that started, you know, but now the kids are older. They're like, shit, I'm going to be like in Maine. There's something called Maine Care for Health, and it's good. It take care of you, right? Low bills, low deductibles, but it's monetary value. So on your property, you go to sell or something. So you rack up the bills, but there's a percentage that you're not getting, you know. So we're trying to put it so everybody in the state of Maine that's in our industry will be able to have insurance if they want to pay for it.
That's another thing too. It's like when people think about cannabis, they don't really think about all this shit.
None of it.
They don't like being like a stoner or whatever, you know, you're out smoking cannabis, consuming weed, whatever, however you want to put it. You're never, ever, ever, ever thinking in the back of your head, okay, what about the health benefits of like the people's family that are growing this shit? Like that's not something you would ever even think about. And to have someone actually thinking about that and putting their best foot forward to fix that is pretty fucking dope.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. You know what? It's necessary. It's not like we're working for a small company, me and you, and we organize the farm. And we want these stupid demands, double the pay. This is to protect the owner and to protect all the workers in one shot. It's kind of like schizophrenia type of. Well,
it's also like it's a little crazy because it's cannabis, and it's not federally legal. So like that becomes another like obviously obstacle in the whole thing.
What a wall.
You know, the whole fucking thing to be working in government with a cannabis business. You know what I mean? And it's just a fine line to walk, I'm sure, you know?
Well, I'll give you a funny. I told you I like my mayor, and I do. I adore her. And I'll give her a shout out. Becky, you're awesome. Thank you for being so nice to me. One time we were all done coming out of a meeting, and they were going to hire somebody, and they all look at me. They didn't dare to say it. So I knew somebody had a wise-ass remark, and here it comes, right? So that's what I want, because we all get along. This is 100% I'm happy. They go, I don't know, should we drug test them? And I didn't skip a beat. I looked at them all, and I said, you know what? I'll do it. I'll find out if they're cool. And then everybody burst out. And that was the only one thing that's ever been said to me about being Uncle Pete. Everybody likes that I'm a business owner. They understand that if you own in cannabis, usually it's like 3 years and you're out. That's about the average before you got to get investors, and then it's not your company anymore.
Exactly.
Those are scary things. We want banks. We want federal banks. One of the cool things I got to brag about this union is I briefly told you that we have an office in Washington, D.C. Talk about ammo. So if you're a senator up in D.C. and International Machinist Union, International Association of Machinist Union and Aerospace Workers, they request a meeting. You usually do it because that's a labor, and they're in your state as well. So they always get the audience. They always get the scheduled meeting, and they'll go over everything and say, "Hey, by the way, I have permission. There's this guy, Uncle Pete." And show him a picture of my wife, And she's 5 foot, she's beautiful, but do you really want her going to Republic Cash with money, right? To pay the electric bill, which is quite a lot of money, or to pay any of our bills, because we have to do it with, we got to go to Republic Cash. It's bullshit.
Hang on, Pete. For the record, I would put my money on Tina.
Yes, Big Red's tough. She is. But we could be doing all our bills in 5 minutes from a laptop if we could use the banking system. And if you want to clean up the industry, why wouldn't you want to use banking? So for the last 2.5 years that Mick and I have been waiting to sign cards before August, I've been working with all the agents, and they've been actively meeting all the senators for this whole time, right? The whole time in Washington, all the no votes. Now, if you go back and look at the record, it did pass in the Senate. The senators passed safer banking, and it's in the House of Republican now. That's us. That's us.
Shit.
That's us.
That was you.
That was me. I gave up my information. They're allowed to use it, but they're saying this is an example. This is wrong, and this union's tough. This is a strong union.
So that's gonna change the way cannabis works in the whole, like, federally, right? I mean, across the country.
So
right?
yeah, so everybody, I took one for the team. We all need this. We all need banking. I don't want your mom to go to the ATM and set a pattern and then get robbed someday, right?
Well, I'm just making sure I'm understanding this correctly, because so what's happening is with dispensaries now. I know it's coming in. It's working its way through. That it's like they're eventually going to be able to use like actual banks and whatnot, and like
regular cards.
So you don't have someone carrying fucking $1 million in cash, like to a hot box or some shit like that.
There's no need of that.
So you're the one. You guys are the ones that put forward to stop that.
Yes, we're pushing very.
That's
hard.
fucking dope, man. That's dope. 'Cause that's a national story.
Yeah. Yeah, never thought I'd be involved in the
That's
middle
what I'm saying. But that's a national story. It is. It is. You're right. It is. That's something to be like really proud of.
Well, I'm proud of a lot of things. I think the greatest thing I ever did, though, was to get the state to turn legal so we could get a bill passed so you could get organ transplants. A lot of people in the state of Maine could not have. They were getting kicked off organ transplant list
because of THC.
Yeah. They were saying aspergillus would reject the organ, and it's straight out it would if it was that exposed, but it wasn't from the grass you're smoking. So we proved to them through scientists from all over the world. We had Weedakit come down, and we ended up getting it passed, but we had to have the voters. So that's why in 2016 we worked so hard to get 5 states passed, because now we got more balls to go after Maine Medical Center. And we're telling them, and it was straight government intrusion. We were telling them their policies are wrong and they had to change it. We're telling a company that. But I didn't give a shit because people were dying. So and I'll give you the greatest example on this. Say you have a doctor's note, you come see me, right? It's perfectly legal, you buy stuff. I have a patient intake form list. And one of them is like, none of my business, what's a number I can call if something happens to you, right? Because if you leave my driveway and get T-boned, I'm smart enough to do 911, but I didn't have a number for you to get somebody that loves you. And so I added that to that. So anyways, we tried to change all that. I started drifting on that. So what was the original question?
Yeah, you just was talking about something that you wanted to say that you were proud of, and I would just let you run on it.
So when we did that,
do you need help with that, Mike?
Say you bruised your heart, right, when you got hit. You left my T-bone, and you were coming to me for anxiety. Had nothing to do with your heart, right? Beautiful. Well, you would not get an organ. So if your heart was bruised, we would just come to love you, come say goodbye to you, right? You could not get a transplant in Maine. I'm not okay with that. So what we did was had to change all these state laws and other states too to get this passed, LD 764 organ exclusion list. And that was it. So that's how we do it. We changed laws, and this one was to extend a lot of people's lives, and it was wrong that it was illegal. So that's kind of how I base everything on. And I just try to keep it real simple and straightforward. That's it.
Thank you very much. That was really nice of you.
No problem. I seen you struggling over that. I seen him struggle, but hold on. I don't want to. No, I don't want to get off that because like the organ donor thing. You've done a ton of shit that is like amazing for stoners. Like I wish he had a mic hooked up right now, my producer, so I could ask. Like that's pretty crazy. All the shit that like you don't even think about this kind of stuff when you're a smoker. You're just consuming cannabis, being like, oh, I like this. Not thinking about all the shit that goes behind it. No, he's good. He's good. Thank you. But I do want to talk about. So what is this, Kosh? Can you go to this one real quick? Will he explain what this is?
This is awesome. So one of our union stores is 207 Hydro Farms, and they're out of Sanford, Maine. And these are amazing. These are bamboo filters. They're I believe it's 3 grams. Yeah, 3 grams, and it's called the Peacemaker. It has diamonds mixed inside of it. It's been dipped and dusted on the outside. These are badass. And I tell you this to save your thing, because you'll probably get a bowl full of keef in the bottom of that for later.
Fucking.
So these are awesome, and I wanted to bring something cool, and why not give a shout out to one of our union brothers in the state of Maine.
I love it. It's and I like the name Peacemaker as well too, because obviously
you can't fight after this.
That's what I'm saying. That's what it had to be, right? I'm like, that's the name got to be that, because you're just so stoned after this. You're like, man, whatever the fuck I was mad about, it's cool.
Right. Right.
If my wife watches this, I did not inhale.
No, it's for TV. It's aesthetics.
Don't worry, your wife's not going to watch us. We're not that popular yet. Yeah, we got 500,000 views last month, so it wasn't not that bad yet. So Mick, you're an interesting fella. Obviously, everyone obviously brings up the elephant in the room every time.
You're the greatest, Mick.
You have to, obviously. You got to definitely have an aesthetic to you. You definitely got a vibe to you. How did you and Pete meet?
I didn't trust him. He came to my front door.
I delivered product to his home.
You delivered product to his home. Okay.
And I didn't let him in.
Yeah, the first 3 or 4 times he made me stand on the front porch with a feral cat.
Are you being serious?
That attacked me.
Yep. So why?
Why is the cat feral?
I mean, there's a you pick when you want to answer, and you answer the other one.
We have to be very careful who we let in our house, because the office is in our house downstairs, security.
Okay.
So normally if somebody's knocking on my door and they don't have an order, I'm like, who are you? What do you want?
Dressed like this.
Yeah. And so he's dressed like that, so he had me there.
Yeah.
But so after a while, I realized he belonged in the industry, and he was okay to come.
But
in.
why are you cold calling him?
He was doing a delivery for Smokies, right?
Yeah, it's when I started with Smokies.
Oh, so you were delivering for a different company for your personal? Or something like that, yeah.
For Uncle Pete's Relief, we ordered some Smokies gummies.
Ah, I see, okay.
And Mick had a contract with Smokies to deliver all this shit. So he ended up on my doorstep, and I'm like, who the fuck are you?
So what do you do?
I do a lot of things. Mysterious.
I drink wine and know things.
I smoke a lot of weed and know things. Honestly, I really do a lot of different things. Hopefully trying to help keep, a lot of our smaller caregiver businesses running. I try to make it so that they have availability to as much product as is required to meet their patients' needs, and be able to give them enough diversity that they can compete with themselves. And it's been going pretty good. I'm up to about 34, 35 different people I wholesale for, and I'm in a little over 100 shops throughout the state of Maine.
Jesus, okay. So when you say you're in about 100 shops, what do you mean is in the 100 shops?
They purchase one of my wholesale clients' products, and I deliver for them.
Excellent, excellent. And how long have you been working with Pete for?
About 2.5 years.
Yeah, at least 2.5 years. So he's being modest.
I know he is.
He told me he was going to be a broker, and I was in on the original language that went on the thing, and we were like, we don't need fucking brokers coming in the state of Maine being the middleman. And we just didn't want big companies coming in and brokering and putting some ungodly percent and running it all over, right? You don't need middlemen. But what we found out is about 2019? Is that when you started going for it? Yeah, right.
No, really. What are we, 2024? So yeah. I started with Scott, I think, 2021 or 2022, somewhere in there.
And with his background, he already knew what he needed to do.
Well, what is your background?
I have a significant background in sales. I worked in the cable industry for a long time. And then I have a pharmaceutical background. I was a nationally licensed pharmacy technician.
So you're a big time. You're sales. Your background is sales.
It's weird because I'll tell everybody I'm not a salesperson,
But he is.
but I'm not.
But how? So how did you?
Never sold you anything.
Right?
And how did you end up on the? You see, you're a man of semantics. I can see. So how do you? But how do you end up on the cannabis side then? Are you just a huge cannabis smoker? Is that where you always wanted to go, or is?
Funny story, Chris. I never smoked weed.
Oh yeah. So okay.
So I'm 46. I started smoking weed about the same time I started in the industry. Maybe a little bit sooner, but for anxiety and panic attacks, it was medicinal.
And what do you think of it?
In 4.5 months, I've smoked over 330 different strains.
Okay.
That's significant, I think.
And so you're a fan of cannabis.
I mean, I used to be a cigar connoisseur, and now I'm a weed connoisseur.
He's got a humidor room.
Yeah, I've heard about some. So you have a humidor room.
I do.
And what is for cannabis? Or cigars?
The rooms for cigars, I actually have a vault for cannabis that I keep all my pre-rolls. It's got about 185 different strains sitting in it right now.
And whenever I get a new strain, when he comes over, I'll just throw him one. Hey, put that in your vault.
So you have like that thing. What's that thing on in Antarctica there, where they have the seeds,
like
the seed base? You got that in your fucking house for cannabis?
And I'm gonna actually go on record. I think, contrary to popular belief, you can properly store weed and age it, and it does get better.
Of course you can.
Hold on.
Of course you can.
You think you can age? You think weed gets better with age?
Yes.
Okay, I'm listening.
That's two of us.
The more chlorophyll that comes out of the plant, because it's a plant, the less bitter.
You think about
you know how
cigars.
we cure it? You know how you cure it and you burp the lids and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
What
well,
you're
there's
getting
some
out is the
bacteria.
ammonia.
Yeah, the bacteria gases. And they're just eating all the chlorophyll. So the more you can slow that down and cure it, it's going to be just a beautiful smoke. I'm going to give Keith from Turftown Throwdown a shout out because he's awesome too, buddy. I judge his contests every year, and there's a couple people, and it's some of the best cannabis in the world right here in New England. It really is. So of course I want the 2 totes full of food and flour and concentrate. I'm all over that shit.
Yeah,
and it's awesome. I look forward to it, and. Some of the people have these vacuum packed, 2 or 3 grams, all vacuum packed, and they cured it just for this. And the more cured it is, it's like fine wine. The more aged, as long as it's not dry, you hit one hit, whole joint gone. No, somebody fucked up. You keep the moisture content. You put in a vacuum seal. That's the first thing you grab when you're somewheres and they're offering.
Is that like one of those fucking dry rub aged steaks? They're like 100 years old and they fucking...
you be selfish with that shit. And even if it's the last one, you order it for you. Yes.
You said you be selfish with that shit. You don't share it.
No, you order that shit.
Every time I've found cannabis that was old and been like, let's just fucking try it. Oh, man, it's never been...
Yeah, because it's not
but
like...
it wasn't properly stored. Now, what I'm telling you is I'm in a wine vault.
Yeah.
With Bovita packs.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, you're out of fucking your mind.
I promise you, I'll give you something that's been sitting in there for 1.5 years, and you're gonna go, damn.
Well, at some point in time, I'm getting up there because I got to see the Pez room anyway.
You got to take a picture of your vault of all the different strains for them because that's pretty interesting.
It's all in fish tackle boxes.
It's all cool.
Do you have it it's got to be labeled. Fucking labeled and everything like that. What's your favorite strain?
Orangutan titties.
Orangutan titties.
Thanks, Pete.
You're welcome. Sorry about
that. That's one of the... Oh, yeah, you dropped some of that off last time you were here.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. So I was looking...
See, I told you I gave him one.
Aren't these the coolest lighters? Yeah. These covers, I feel so cool.
It's been...
Grown man and I feel cool.
It's never left the room. Never once left the room.
Nice.
So I have to ask because, I mean, if I don't, I'm not doing my job. Why the kilt? Like, what's with the...
Oh, that's right. We talked about it
We
before.
talked about it before, but that never
right.
came out.
That's
Yeah, so
gone.
none of that ever came out. So if I'm asking the same questions again, that's because we lost all that footage.
Wow, you know what's amazing, though, is we're now over a year and a half of wearing the kilt.
That's what I'm... Well, you were here about a year ago.
So,
Hey, do you remember the guy in the kilt?
Yeah.
everyone remembers the guy in
I
the
love
kilt.
your
Yeah,
That's
but
why I said it.
at some... Well, he's also
But
a big guy, and he, you know...
So legitimately, I was at a Ren fair. I've always wanted one. So I said I'm going to wear it, and I wore it like for a week while working. That first week, I tripled my sales.
Yeah.
Tripled.
I believe it.
I got groped by 9 different grandmas.
9 different count. 9.
No, I'm not joking.
No, but you said 9.
From behind, there were 9 of them.
They don't count,
It
Mick.
took 2 weeks.
Grandmas don't count.
Oh, it counts. My wife said I was dressing and asking for it. That was mind-blowing.
Jen's awesome.
But anyway, legitimately tripled my sales, and I've never looked back. And at some point, some people kind of went out of their way and said, look, do you even understand what you're doing? And I said, well, I think so. I'm doing it. And they said, yeah, what you're doing, though, is exuding confidence. And it sticks out, and people remember it.
Yeah.
Step on
And
the
it-
throttle, brother.
and it
Step
does-
on the throttle.
It does in northern Maine require a certain confidence to be pumping gas when it's negative 20 and you're in a kilt and a t-shirt and you're like, what's up?
Yeah, no. It's
They're not messing with me.
it's got to be like I don't know, 25, 30 degrees today. It's a little over freezing today. Not
Yeah.
much though. And I was wondering, I'm like, is Mick going to show up in the kilt?
He balled up.
And he fucking came in the
Year and a half, I have not worn a pair of pants.
So what does your wife think about that?
I mean, she's accepted it.
So his wife is awesome. Jen, she's awesome.
Best wife ever. I tried to get her to come. She's like, no.
I wish he'd come with us. We're going
I
to go out
tried.
there
I
get some
tried.
food after.
Does she wear a kilt?
No.
No, she wears the pants.
No, she wears the pants in our family. Only behind the scenes. Publicly, she lets me be an ass as long as it's not in any way injuring myself.
No, I mean it's
She's a good wife.
There's nothing
She's
wrong
awesome.
with nothing
She's
wrong with the
awesome.
kilt. Nothing wrong with the kilt at all, and it does exude confidence. But it's not only that; it's just the whole. It's the hair, it's the glasses, it's the giant silver rings with skulls on them.
Yeah, the Mickey Mouses are very intimidating, right?
When you have it all together, yeah, like it. I saw.
it's
Yeah.
classic.
That shit works.
But I'm assuming it's like a pair of like Gucci Mickey Mouse like hard to find frames or some shit like that. Like, it's,
I think I got them in the airport. They were amazing.
well, there you go. They're probably expensive as fuck.
So Mick is a Walt Disney World lover like we all are. And if you were to wait on him at a table and you had like a collector's glass, when they asked you, hey, would you like to buy this? Which one? His reply is what?
All of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I know I said the Pez room earlier. I mean, you might as well just give us a quick little rundown of this your Pez room, which I completely don't understand myself, even though you explained it to me.
Cool story. My wicked awesome wife actually submitted me, and I made the fan of the month for Pez.com. It was pretty awesome.
That's cool.
They're down in like where, Connecticut?
Orange, Connecticut.
Yeah, because we drove by them. We're gonna go see them soon. Yeah, I have to. Yeah,
Let them know Mick said hey.
I will. I'm sure they know who you are.
If Sean's working, he'll know who I am.
So yeah, what's
So
Should do a podcast there with all of us.
I would love to.
That would be so cool.
being with my wife since high school, I don't know, we used to do trinkets and stuff, and she came from a little better off family than mine, and I said, look, the gifts I can't reciprocate, and they're flattering. I said, but if you're thinking of me, just get me a Pez. Well, fast forward over 30 years, and I've got a few thousand of them now, and it's kind of a cool collection.
Yeah, so I mean, like he's not like, yeah, I got the picture you showed me. It looked like it was a room that was about, I don't know, 30 feet long by 20 feet wide or something, like a finished basement is what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
And there was individual Pez lined up throughout the whole.
The presidential guest
Thing.
suite is covered. Ceiling.
Was that a bedroom or was that?
It's our guest room.
I figured it might have been like a dining room off to the. It's,
Yeah, I
it's
mean-
good size. It's pretty cool.
It's one of those things, like if you're into voyeurism, all their little eyeballs watching you, it's
Yeah.
kind of weird, but in a cool way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure your wife.
I mean, if you want to be really wigged out, just go into the basement.
Yeah, he has a whole
haunted house.
horror haunted house.
like a poop your pants. Like,
He's got a
what is
hearse.
wrong with this guy?
He's got everything.
Hold on. What do you mean in your basement you have a haunted house?
Yeah, been doing a haunted house for over 20 years through my basement.
Like all year long?
Mr. Gore.
Well, I mean, it's set up year long, but it's for one day a year.
But okay, so
And we do a, you should come up. We do a killer Halloween party.
okay, so you have to give me a little bit of information on what the hell's going on right now, because I don't really know how to even ask the question. What do you mean you have a haunted house in your basement that like
What, that shocks you?
I'm trying to picture
It's a legit walk-through haunted house with different stages of gore, and it's badass.
and I do my own art.
I'm trying to picture it. That's what I'm trying to think, because I assume everything you do is to the max. Like everything that I've learned about you is to the max.
The guy getting electrocuted, right?
Well, I mean, I have a late 1800s embalming jar in my window.
But like, how big is your?
Thanks, Uncle Ray.
How big is your basement to have?
My wife got lost in it once.
That's what I'm saying.
She
like,
legitimately, for about 15 minutes, was doing the walkthrough, and she's like, holy shit, at one point I had no clue where I was until I saw the water boiler. And that's pretty impressive.
yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to think. And I would assume you have like all the like it's.
Yeah.
I couldn't even do it justice talking about it, I'd assume.
We have chainsaws.
Chainsaws. What makes you do something like that?
Bring your cameras when you come.
Honestly, my father used to do haunted house stuff, and it was something I tried to do to connect with him, but it grew into its kind of own thing, and my own moniker, Gore Master, and it's been been fun.
Do you remember the haunted house at Old Orchard? Not at Old Orchard, at Saco Funtown? That was awesome. They had to close it because it was scaring too many people giving them heart attacks.
What about that guy? Is that guy in what the fuck does he do? That mansion there?
No, I don't want anything to do with McCabe.
Yeah, he's just I know someone
torture guy. He's psycho.
We know someone that went and did that, and the kid broke his rib.
Yeah,
it wasn't any fun.
You can't touch the people going through.
I am not into waterboarding and mental torture. It just. Like you
just want to literally scare the shit out of people.
Yeah, there's like clowns and severed corpses, and
it's really cool.
It's kind of interesting that you never really smoked weed, because it seems like a lot of the shit you're into is stuff that like people that smoke cannagars might smoke a fucking fat cannagar and do.
Yeah, by the way, this is freaking amazing.
Yeah, these are really great. Yeah, like
these guys are good, man. These guys,
Jen,
I sell a lot of these.
I said frickin'.
Who would ever think that I would have $25 joints in because I'm medical. I'm all for the cheapest price possible, but this is 3 grams.
Told you so.
And it's heavy.
$25 for this ain't bad.
It's a good price.
Correct.
That's a good price.
I never thought when I first started this I'd have anything, and these are great.
We don't race to the bottom.
No, we don't.
We're gonna sell good weed at a fair price.
Good weed at a fair price. That's what it comes down to as well too. I mean, you see all this shit now when people go like, I can get weed for fucking like $25 an ounce.
Hey, listen, all those.
Yeah, that's going to be some shitty stuff too. Might as well take it out of the tinfoil brick wrapper.
Wait, we can swear on this, right?
Yeah.
All those big box stores up in Maine can eat a dick. You can sell all the $6 eighths you want. They're going to get sick of the headaches. They're going to get sick of your shitty weed. And they're going to come back to the good stuff. So, fuck you.
It's starting now. You can see that people are starting to come back around. They're starting
It's going to be just like
when they
beer.
come back to me, they apologize. And I'm like, no, man, if you had a tight month and you got to go there, go there.
It's your money, yeah.
People are preying on people that can't afford things. And
so they're getting
How do you try to explain to people like that exact thing of like how like that's not the same weed that we have here?
So when people come to me, and my weed's a little different because again, it's spring-fed well that we have, so the taste is phenomenal. Just alone, it doesn't taste heavy. Nice clean smoke coming out of it, not blackish or gooey. And a lot of that is the water, and we grow it in soil. So what I tell people when they come to us, we're 200 an ounce, and it goes down to 25 an eighth. I don't surcharge to the smaller, but I certainly cannot survive at $60 an ounce. I just can't do it. Don't come to me.
Yeah, it's not my thing.
I can't do it.
Well, when people I'm saying when people come to you and they say, "Oh, I can get $60 an ounce," I try to explain to people, I'm like, that's probably weed that's been sitting around for a year or two in a warehouse somewhere. Might even be moldy, ran through some fucking bleach. There's a reason why it's $60 an ounce.
Some of them will
Hold
do
on, guys.
radiation on it, so it passed the test, but the rest of it's
Worse than everything you guys just said right there, what people don't realize is by buying that weed, all they're trying to do is flood the market, drop the price of the weed so that the small guys growing the good stuff can't survive.
Yep.
Once those guys growing the good stuff are gone, you know that shitty weed you've been getting super cheap? Now you're going to have to pay like it was good stuff, but you're still getting the same shitty weed for more money.
I tell people that shit all the time too, and I'm like, I try to say, if you walk into a liquor store for someone who drinks, there's vodka on the bottom shelf and there's vodka on the top shelf.
Yeah, you don't want Georgie vodka.
You're not drinking fucking Cossack fucking vodka. You know what I'm saying? But you can get Belvedere. It's not. I mean, you can, I guess. You can buy a $6 bottle handle if you want, but I mean, is that really
that headache?
Yeah, but you can't drive home after that because you can't see.
I don't want to imagine that headache. I remember that headache very well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's the same thing. You get what you pay for. And Mick's right. There's a lot of this past year off of 236 at least. I know of. This is a pretty good route in Kittery through to I think Berwick, right? 236. 9 stores shut down, and it was because a big box store came in and started dropping $60 ounces. So 9 stores are gone. You don't have to be greedy. Every bit of cannabis will sell from the high end to the low end. You don't have to do that, and I'm against that. I wish they would work with all of us, not price fix, but just price survive, because people will go, if your stuff's great, they're going to buy that first. If it sucks and it's that cheap, they may buy it anyways. And that's what we're against. We're against trying to screw the consumer, because, again, my forte is medical. I have to use it for my pancreas and liver. And I have proof that I have both my pancreas and liver. You need them. I shouldn't have them. That's why if I go to the legislation in Augusta, I'm not costing you as a Republican senator or an independent, right? You're a senator or a representative. I'm not costing you one vote talking to me, because I really have proof that this is keeping me alive. So this is just a good conversation, and there's no blowback on your political aspects when I'm talking to you.
Hey, Pete.
Yep.
Can you still see Chris over there?
Yeah, it got really fucking smoky in here, man.
It is
We're not done.
Smoky up in here.
This is awesome.
That's part of the thing. That's one of the fun things we get to do on here as well. Is like, it's not.
Yep.
A lot of podcasts are educational, and this is educational as well. But like, I like to just have some fun smoking, because that's what cannabis started for me as.
This is what we all fought for. This is everything I believe in as a person.
And I've had people tell me, like, this is the room that if they could, like, they wanted to smoke in as a teenager. It's like, if like we could have smoked in a room as a teenager, if we could have afforded it, this would have been like the kind of room we would have smoked in. So I kind of wanted to build that, and
Flat out, you guys. This is straight out of that 70s show right here. This is badass. This is
like,
great.
It's that 90s show, though, because we grew up in the 90s, you know?
Yeah, well, you did. I'm old.
Yeah. Well, you do refer to them as the 1990s. I've heard him say that twice now, and I'm like, that is fucking some old shit, because no one ever said. People say the 90s, they don't say the 1990s. It's like, you're making me feel like an old motherfucker.
Oh, shit.
Well, that's because he was around in
57.
the 1800s, so he's differentiated.
I feel it. Some of my body parts might still be there, but oh, yeah, I feel it.
Fucking. So what's next for cannabis up in Maine?
So right now, to anybody in the cannabis industry in the state of Maine, open arms. We want you to come join us. We want to get stronger, bigger, so we can offer better premiums for these packages of insurance we got. Feel pretty good about that. I think the state of Maine, there's a couple big bills this week. And we just kind of want things to status quo. We're finding out, like the Office of Cannabis Policy, that's what they call it in Maine. The director has openly coming out and said that he wouldn't buy Maine cannabis. Why the fuck is he why is he doing this? And so we
what the fuck?
Well, don't forget, now I'm in a union, right? Organized labor. So we found some of his notes.
Don't ask
and
questions.
Speeches in Maryland, and he's ready for legalization in Maine, and he's trying to steamroll everybody. So we're not done. We had a bill put out and a petition. In one day, we had 600 businesses sign it for his resignation.
Oh, that's good.
It's just to say that obviously we can't get them fired. We don't have that power, but we can let them know that 600 businesses are upset that you're scaring the shit out of us and we don't think you represent us. That's fair, right?
I would think that 600 businesses have enough money that, like, I don't know, the advertising dollars or however that translates in any kind of, but the revenue has to equal something that matters.
That's why my ass was in the legislation on Thursday, because all the businesses joined up.
Yeah.
And it's nice because I walked into Madam Speaker of the House, Rachel Talbot Ross, and I was hoping to meet her because I guess she's pretty like regular, awesome person. And I just wanted to introduce her as not Council Transmontane, as Vice President of Maine Cannabis Union. And I'd like to sit down and discuss some of the bills. And then maybe we can introduce them together, right? Be the solution, not the problem.
Yeah.
And she's good. She co-sponsored a bill, and I just want to say thank you. I spent a half hour with her, whoever does all her stuff, all her assistant, and they were just awesome. It's not like before because we represent organized labor. It's not. We're not there. Hey, this bill's bullshit, and there's none of that. We come in with a direct reason, and we come in with a direct solution. So we're not wasting anybody's time. This is how it should be, and let's work together because we can give if there's a reason, back and forth. So that's what's changing in the state of Maine is Maine Cannabis Union's there, and it feels good to say that.
Is there anyone else like you doing this?
Oh my God, I want to give a shout out. We have so many cool people. I put together a dream team because for the board, because when you first start a union, you have to have a minimum of 8 on a board. We put 11 together. And we got 11 different owners or have been owners in the industry. Anybody with stakes in the industry, and I got Mick right away. He went to be treasurer just to hold it down. I asked Susan Meehan to be president because we wanted her at the State House as much as possible, and she was closest. And she's there. So we got the president, Susan Meehan. Her daughter, Cindy May, passed away, and she worked with a lot of CBD elixirs to continue her life for as long as she did. The lady's remarkable. So that was a dream come true, just getting her. I got the guy that has a contract for Smoky's Edibles all across the state of Maine, and now he's our treasurer. Scotty Olette from Up to Camp Edibles. And
amazing extractions.
Oh my God. And then I got Paul McCarria. He works so hard for Yes on One, excuse me, to legalize Maine. And so the list goes on and on. Everybody said yes. Even the ones that didn't have time said yes, just so we could form a board. And then we backfilled later on. Like if you came on later on and were like, hey, this guy has no time. Would you want to step up and start helping? You're doing it anyways. And we have 11 of the most amazing people with backgrounds through pretty much the whole industry, right? I mean, it's a power team. And the coolest thing I did, to be transparent, I didn't ask you to do this for 3 straight years. That's bullshit. Nobody elected us. Next year, coming up in October, membership-wide, all those 11 boards are open. Because what happens if there's like 11 power attorneys that join us, right? And they're way better at this. Please, run. It's not about me. The last couple of months we've been working a couple hours, probably about 5 hours a week on bylaws, because right now this is really cool. The head of all the union told me they took my gloves off, and not only can I be a pain in the ass in the state of Maine, we're going coast to coast with Cannabis Union, and we actually have a charter starting up in Vermont right now. They're actively fielding a board. So we actually put boots on the ground to go see them already in Vermont. We have 11 different states that want us to go see them, and we have a company that is in 20 different states, and they want us to have union benefits and membership with all their like a McDonald's, you get a franchise. Well, this company has a franchise, so now they're going to require that they're part of the Cannabis Union.
And now they are, like, basically you're the model.
Yeah, we're the cookie cutter, baby.
And when you think about that, like when you checkers it,
yeah,
you're looking at yourself in, I don't know, a couple years from now, a couple million strong.
We're going to be the #1 union in the world. We're going to go worldwide.
That's what
bro.
I'm like. That's what I'm already like in my head. I can already see what you're.
Think of how many
I can see what you're doing. It's like, holy shit.
Think of how many people I can help.
There's that, and I'm not taking that away from that, of course, because I know that's what you're at. But like, you'd actually have some power. Like, you'd be able. Like, it's hard for regular people to get power.
Remember that?
But if you keep a level head,
I mean like you
But
could
yes,
actually
it
go.
could.
You can go to the table with the big guys, and they have to listen now.
Do you remember the
Yes, sir.
question you asked
And it's
about
hard
the federal?
to do that for a small guy. But if you're like, fuck it, like,
I'm right. Fuck it. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I said. We all stink when we go take a poop, right? You think about everybody that you've ever seen a face, and if you watch them go to the bathroom, it's pretty funny. Okay, if they have to go number 2, we all go number 2. Why is somebody better than us just because they're a senator in Washington D.C. or they're on a committee for safer banking? Why are they better than? They're not.
You're right.
I'll sit right down with anybody and talk to them about what needs to be done.
But why the fuck before would they have to sit down and talk to you? You're making it so
yeah,
they have
coming.
to.
I'm coming.
But you could have said, like, you could knock on the door and then go, yeah, but you only represent fucking 3,000 people. What the fuck do I care about that?
No.
But when you start to build that shit across states, it's
How
like,
many
holy
people-
fuck. Like, wait a minute. Now you can get 10 million people to fucking sign off on something.
Yep.
Now you have to fucking listen.
Yeah, right to DC. So
You know what I'm saying?
anybody
about the
in
votes.
anybody in the cannabis industry, if you're hearing this, we want you.
Run for office.
Yeah, and come see me, and we'll get a charter in your state.
What I'm hearing too, are there people in other states that are doing this? Like,
Yes,
with you guys? And
Vermont is actively filling a board member right now.
West Coast, anything? You
Yeah,
guys-
I got a cooking
you guys-
everywhere.
you
I
guys-
got my claws everywhere.
And you're the guy that's kind of the.
You can call Uncle Pete on my business card. I will put boots. I will put boots on the ground if you're serious and you're going to fill a board. We will be there.
Man, that's really cool. I have to just give you like props for that shit, because sitting here right now, I can only imagine in 3, 4 years, 5 years from now, like federal law changes, and you're like, "Yep, fucking told you."
Oh, federal law is going to change
I
quicker
sat in your
than
fucking
that.
house, and I told you I was going to fucking do this, and I did.
Yep.
You know
It's
what I
going to
mean?
change
It's like
quicker.
fucking- that's why I fuck with you,
already
Pete, man.
seen
You're-
the eight criteria for descheduling, and if you think about how maddening that is, you're not going to get OxyContin to get 8 criteria for them to deschedule, right? Because no fucking way. We got the 8 criteria, and you know what's beautiful about
So you're
this?
also the guy that's
I've
helping
read it. Yeah,
getting it descheduled.
Yeah, right. So
What do you mean? Yeah, you're like,
So-
yeah, like I should know that. Like, that's
come on,
fucking-
keep up. You know?
Fucking-
but the beautiful thing is if I'm right, and I'm usually am, we only have to do 3, qualify for 3 out of the 8. And so I've read those or on the indies. I can't tell you what the 8 schedule is. It's not right. But if we qualify for 3 and can prove it, we're getting descheduled. We have the list. Don't you think you can get that done? You know, for 3 of them. So it's going to be. So the trick is, it doesn't belong in 2. We already know that. And does it really need? It should be descheduled. The trick right now is all the geniuses that are doing the THCA, because it comes from hemp. They're shipping it all over the world. So now it kind of hurts at the state and the federal level, because they're going to try hammering and over regulating when there's a technicality and the industry's blowing up right behind their door with THCA. So I see that descheduling is going to happen this year. Probably right before the election. I know if I was that old man in office, I would do it right for that, you know, because he fired off with the college loans already. He should have saved that baby for right then. So something's coming. That would be a way to play the votes.
I mean, that must be a really good feeling, though, knowing that you're one of the guys behind that, like spearheading that and pushing that. And
You know what would be cool someday? I'm long gone, and my kid's sitting here, or my grandson's sitting here answering, having for something, right? And he can pull me up on a Google because I was right and I did things right. So maybe he will never be afraid to fail. And then I'm like, yes, I have lived. You know,
That's it. That's dope, man.
Yeah, I love my granddaughter.
Yo, fucking
I
man.
love my granddaughter. They're pretty cool kids.
Uncle Pete, man, it's been a fucking pleasure. Mick, you gonna die over there? You all right?
I'm good.
Yeah, right. All right. Fucking, if you can look in this, I'm looking at this. I can barely see you in that camera, but if you want to look at this camera right here, tell everybody where they can find you, where to, all of it, socials, where they can sign up, all that shit. This guy right there.
How you doing, guys? If you can swim through the fog, this has been awesome. I'll come here anytime. I'm Uncle Pete from Uncle Pete's Relief, LEAF, because we are that cool. We're in southern Maine. You can find me on unclepete'srelief.com. You can find me on Leafly because I really like that company a lot. And then you can find me on Uncle Pete's Relief on Instagram, but I am in hashtag jail. It sucks trying to break that one. They're so mad at me. I went from 80,000 likes, like all those pretty tattoo chicks, right?
Yeah.
They were friending me, so they give away hits. I'm like, this is awesome. And then they just hammered me, and I get like 12 likes. So
Instagram's fucked up.
yeah, but Maine Cannabis Union.com. Anybody in the country, you want to get your company stronger? We're not looking evil takeover, man. You need to be unionized. Are you tired of paying for lobbyists? Are you tired of paying for these crazy fees to be online? I fired a certain maps company because they tried to double my fee. They weren't worth it. They're not stakeholders. Don't do that to me. I called Leafly and they gave the Maine Cannabis Union your operating costs. If you come to us, are $200 to $600 for your first year, locked in. Save about $1,000 just by coming to us. So anybody, get yourself stronger. Come see us. Call us. This isn't bullshit. If you're tired of fighting in your state, it's every state's the same, because it's not federal yet. So we got to all get it together. And I think strength in numbers is real. We want your owners. We want your workers. We want your lawyers, your accountants, everybody you work with. We want to make a difference, and we can offer insurance. And again, like I told you, I lost my son to a different industry. I don't want that happening anymore to anybody else, especially if you're in a new state and the goods are going. You want to keep your family,
Absolutely.
And I just there's a lot to do to fight. Let's do it together. So that's my message for everybody.
I love it. Mick, you want to tell these people where they can find you or anything?
Mick McGrath, Celtic Consignment and Brokerage. I'm somewhere in Maine all the time.
I forgot to bring this up. Do you want to talk about these guys real quick?
We did drop some tarantula legs courtesy of Cloud9 out of Grand Isle, Maine. Thanks, John.
I'm just going to open one of these up and just show the camera real quick so we can. Oh shit!
Yeah,
they're awesome. You want to be selfish with those? Those are dipped in distillate, and they're just so good. We smoked one right before we came on, so thanks, John.
These things are amazing. We didn't get to those because I don't think he smoked this and the Canada together. Like, fucking Jesus! But I want to thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it. Everyone out there knows. Fuck her chilling. Marty forever. Sense lives. Like, subscribe. Hit the button. Peace.
Free Ted